Hi there, it's Abner at Showalter's Meats, and today I want to show you how easy it is to fill out one of our cut sheets if you're bringing in a hog to us for custom processing. This is our sheet that you want to fill out, and I want to show you how to do that. You can find our blank cut sheets at showalterscountrymeats.com/meat processing, or find the link in the description box of this video. Once you've downloaded that blank cut sheet, you can fill it out by hand and bring it in when you bring your hog in. The top part here is where we'll put the information in after you bring the hog in, but then what we need from you is the name, obviously the name that's going to be on here, an address, and a phone number that we can text you on. We prefer texting. When your order is ready for pickup, we like to be able to text you and let you know that. We also like a backup phone number because sometimes we can't get a hold of people on their primary number, and it's really nice to have a backup number then to be able to get a hold of them. So once we have our basic customer information in place, we'll go down, start off with the loin section of the hog. On the loin section of the hog, people often go with bone-in pork chops, and you can get them 1/2 inch thick, or if you want them thicker, you can do them thicker, like a 1 inch, but most commonly people get them at a 1/2 inch, and typically we put 2 per pack. If you prefer, you can do the loin section as a boneless pork loin, and typically those are often sliced at a 1/2 inch thick and 4 per pack. Because they're a bit smaller, we can get 4 per pack instead of just 2. Now, if you choose to go with boneless pork loin, you'll also be able to get baby back ribs, because the curved bone that's in a bone-in chop, when you take the bone out, that curved bone is actually part of what becomes your baby back ribs. But most commonly people go with the bone-in chop. And then on the hams, it's very common to get your ham sliced and cured. We don't have a way to do a spiral cut here, but we can do like ham steaks, typically 3/8 inch thick, and then we can sugar cure those for you. If you don't want them cured, you can get them done as plain sliced ham steaks. Typically we do them 2 per pack if you don't get them cured, and if you get them cured, it's 1 per pack. You can also get roasts out of your hams. Most common roast size for us is the 3-pound roast. Or if you don't want any of that, you can just get your ham ground into sausage or pork burger. So let's say you get 1 ham sliced and cured and the other half into sausage. On the shoulder, a very common way to do the shoulder is into 3-pound roast, and maybe put the other shoulder into 3/8 inch pork steaks. Those are very common ways. You can also, of course, put your shoulders into the sausage or ground meat. You can also get your shoulders sliced and cured. But by far, the most common thing for shoulders is roast and pork steaks, because the shoulder is actually very marbled meat typically, and makes for some great roast or great pork steaks. The bacon, oftentimes we'll get it sliced and cured. If you don't want to have cured meat, you can get it plain sliced and then you season it yourself. Some people prefer to have their pork bellies whole, which you can do that if you want, or some people just want to grind that into their sausage. So most commonly, however, is sliced and cured bacon. The jowl bacon has the same options as the other bacon. The jowl bacon most typically is sliced and cured. Sometimes people want to avoid nitrates and curing, so you can get it plain sliced as well. Typically whatever you do with the bacon, you would also do with your jowl bacon, unless of course you want it into sausage. You can just have it ground into sausage, even if you have your regular bacon sliced and cured. And of course you can also have it, you can keep your jowl whole and do with it whatever you want. But typically it's sliced and cured. The hocks, which is the lower part of the leg on the hog above the feet, a lot of times people get those ground into sausage. Very common. Some people like to save them for bean meat, so we can save them back as plain hocks for bean meat. Or if you want them cured, that's also an option to have them cured hocks for bean meat. But typically, probably most common is to have it ground into sausage. Moving on to the other details, like on the spare ribs, there's not a lot we can get off of a spare rib, so people typically get them as spare ribs. If you have no use at all for them, you can tell us to go ahead and grind it, and we'll do our best to get what we can off there. But your best bang for your buck is to go ahead and get your ribs done as 1/2 rack of ribs. Amazing stuff. Whatever's left, the trim and whatever you specified to be ground, you can have it done into pork burger. And typically we do like an 80-20 pork burger, but most commonly is getting it done into sausage, of course. And sausage, you can choose if you want a hot, a medium, or a mild. Independently of the pepper, you can also control the sage. If you want no sage, you can do no sage. If you want Normal sage, you can do normal sage. If you want extra sage, you can do that. It's very common. A lot of people love our mild sausage with extra sage. We call it the old-fashioned sage sausage mix. People love that, so you should try it sometime. If you want pork burger out of your hog, you need to bear in mind, especially if you want half sausage and half pork burger out of the ground meat, you will need to sacrifice probably at least one of your hams in order to get enough meat to grind for that. So in that case, we have done that, and so you can go ahead and get you some pork burger if you so choose. Otherwise, if you don't, just all the ground meat will be in the sausage. And then if you want your liver sliced, you can specify to have your liver sliced or have it whole or not at all. If you want us to save your heart, we can save it for you whole or not at all. If you want any extra fat, now that we can save it for you. We typically vacuum pack it in small little vacuum pouches for you. But however, keep in mind that if your hog is lean, there may not be any extra fat left, so bear that in mind. And also, let's say you put the whole hog into sausage, for instance, which that's possible. A lot of that fat would typically be used in your sausage to get the fat ratio right, because sausage is usually best if it has plenty of fat in there. So there you have it. Now you can see the whole sheet here. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of what is involved in filling out our cut sheets. And if you have any questions, we'll be glad to go over those with you when you're here with your cut sheet and your hog.